Hey everyone, it is Dani'i and welcome to this update video on what is happening across the tropics. And so I'm here with the latest on a major Hurricane Ian, which is now a deadly category 4 hurricane closing in on Florida, as well as a disturbance out in the main development region that is known as 99L, or rather designated as 99L. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you never miss an important update on the tropics. And to show your support for the channel, you can leave a like on this video. Okay, so let's go ahead and start out with what's going on across the North Atlantic generally. And so we're taking a look at this disturbance here, and so it is designated, as I said, as Invest 99L, and it has been out there for quite some time now. So it's not as though it recently became a disturbance and now the chance is high. As a matter of fact, this isn't the first time the chance is high for this to develop, but this disturbance has been quite the fighter out there. I mean, conditions are not highly conducive, and it is seemingly getting itself together, and so it could probably become a tropical depression later today if we have an increase in shower and thunderstorm activity. And so if it manages to become even a tropical storm, even for a brief moment, it will acquire the name Julia, as that is the next name to be used for this hurricane season. So you could see this briefly intensify into a named storm and be a tropical cyclone for maybe a day or so, because conditions are expected to get increasingly unfavorable and thus will not allow for any further intensification of this system. But it is quite the fighter. It has been loitering out there for some time, and we could see it making that general track to the northwest thereabout, not being a threat to land. But take a look behind it, just in the vicinity of the Cabo Verde Islands. That shower and thunderstorm activity is associated with a tropical wave propagating towards the west, and so as of now, that is not highlighted for potential development. And so let's now go ahead and talk about the main treat of this video, which is Major Hurricane Ian. And so here we are looking at a close satellite imagery of the cyclone, and it was undergoing an owl replacement cycle, and so that is why the eye looks so ragged. But it has some time to probably intensify even more, but we could see some fluctuations in the intensity of the cyclone through today. But it is slowly closing in on Florida. I mean, just take a look at how it is just churning out there. And so this major category 4 hurricane has maximum sustained winds of 140 miles per hour, and it is moving to the northeast at 10 miles per hour. And so now, as we go ahead and take a look at the National Hurricane Center's cone forecast for Ian, we're seeing that we have hurricane and tropical storm warnings that are in place. And so there's a tropical storm warning that remains for sections of Cuba, including Alafeuth or Isla de Juventud. And so those areas are still expected to experience tropical storm conditions from Ian, but eventually, as the storm makes its way into Florida, further away from the island, then the warning is going to be discontinued. But there is a hurricane warning that is still in effect for the dry Tortugas and also for Florida, and this extends from Chokoloskee to Anclote River, including Tampa Bay. And so these areas will be feeling the direct impacts of Major Hurricane Ian, and so it is going to be bringing along with it devastating storm surge, and so coastal areas will be inundated by this cyclone as it makes its way onshore. And so it is expected to make landfall as a major hurricane, a category 4, of course. Eventually, though, it is going to be weakening because, of course, it is going to be cut off from the warm ocean waters. So once tropical cyclones make their way out of the water and onto land, then it is likely that we're going to be seeing weakening. And so, guys, even while I'm recording right now, I'm just seeing an update that Ian is a high-end category 4 hurricane, almost Cat 5, with maximum sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. And so I would not be surprised if it really manages to become a category 5 hurricane, and in that case it would be the first Cat 5 hurricane since Dorian of 2019. And so again, this is an extremely dangerous situation here with Florida, as the storm is going to be making landfall later today. So the storm is going to be making landfall as an extremely dangerous hurricane, and potentially a category 5 at this point because it still has some time to intensify even further, guys. But this is just an extreme situation right now, and to think that it intensified so much in such a short amount of time is absolutely crazy. So Ian is very close to category 5 intensity right now. And the tropical storm warning also extends into states such as Georgia and South Carolina because it is possible that those areas will be feeling such impacts from Ian as they're going to be heading into the latter part of this week. And so Ian is likely to make its way back into warm ocean waters after crossing over Florida and weakening maybe by sometime on Thursday. And so it isn't going to be over water for a very long time, but it could be enough to enable it to sort of intensify even a bit and then make its way into the southeastern US. But either way, it is going to be bringing along with it a lot of rainfall. And so looking at the rainfall potential map right here, we have the different colors that indicate how much rainfall is expected in inches. And of course, Florida is going to be experiencing the worst of Ian, and other states of the southeast are going to be feeling impacts mainly in terms of all that rainfall, including Georgia, the Carolinas, even going up to Virginia. So things will get pretty messy. And then looking at conditions now in the vicinity of the cyclone, and so let's take a look at this water vapor loop here. And so we're seeing that we have some dry air that is indicated by the yellow, and so we're seeing here that Ian is in a region that has drier conditions. However, it is a very massive hurricane, so even that coupled with the unfavorable wind shear are not really taking a toll on it because it is just so massive. But of course, as it crosses over land and weaken, we're going to be seeing it taking more of a toll because of course it will be losing intensity, and these unfavorable conditions will be helping to try to rip it apart. And we also see some dry conditions out in sections of the main developmental region ahead of 99L, but it is expected to make that northwestward like track, so not going to be accelerated directly into all of that dry air. And so as I spoke about the shear earlier, let's look at the shear map now for Ian, and we are seeing here that we have the unfavorable shear, which is represented by the red, but as I said, it is not really taking a toll because of how massive the storm is, and it is just going to be bringing these dangerous conditions to Florida. There is no question right now because it is closing in on the state. And so again, I just hope that persons are safe. I hope that persons have been heeding the warnings. And if you're to be affected by Ian in the long term, I suggest that you prepare if you haven't begun doing so. And if you're considering, this is your sign to get preparations underway because this cyclone is no joke and it is likely to result in quite the destruction. So please take all the necessary precautions and stay safe, guys. And of course, I'm going to be keeping you updated as necessary on the system. And so that is really it for this update video. And if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments, and you can also share your thoughts. And remember to always be weatherwise.